Good morning. It is Crochet Chocolate Orange time again, and this is the pattern for today. It's a little axolotl head. I think I've pronounced that right. It's quite a hard word to say. Well, it's hard to spell. It's a bit of a weird one, but I have been told it's axolotl. Apologies if I have said that wrong. But here is what we're going to be doing. It's a nice simple pattern. Remember, my patterns are all in UK terms as well, and of course here's the chocolate orange. Now, a chocolate orange isn't just an Easter thing, it is a gift thing all the year through. Here we're going to be probably looking at the end of school term, will be teachers' presents. They make great teachers' presents, or somebody's birthday. It doesn't matter, it can be any occasion. And yes, it is a chocolate orange, and some of you have given me some great ideas of what you could put in instead of a chocolate orange: bath bombs, socks, anything of that sort of shape really, because not everybody likes chocolate. I'm a complete chocoholic, I admit it, but some people can't have chocolate. It's not necessarily they don't like it. So to think of something else to put in it would be nice. I've recently found something which has made me chuckle, and it's perfect for any doll collector or any child that collects these particular dolls. I'll show you because I'm going to do a video next on this particular item. So I've actually got them here. So we'll take the orange out, and this is what I'm referring to. Now, I didn't think of it at first, but they were sat on the side and I suddenly went, that would fit. So let's have a go. So it fit in quite nicely. Ta-da! And if you get them in the right position, they're flat on the bottom as well. So that makes a wonderful dolly gift, doesn't it not? I was really pleased with that. But there's lots of other things. If you've got other things you found do fit in them, let me know. Pop it in the comments below. It's great to see comments. It does mean a lot. And I will try and answer every one I can. Every now and again, the comments disappear. I don't know why. So if I ever miss anyone, I do apologise for that. So we're going to get on with this top down. It is quite a simple pattern, as I've mentioned. And I think he's quite cute. So I will see you in a second to do this video. Well, let's get on with our little axolotl head. It is just the head. You could add other parts to it if you wanted, but this is how I just decided to do it because I thought it was perfect just for going over the chocolate orange. Now, I have used a double knit yarn. Now, this one's weird. I thought they were both Stylecraft, but when I started working with this one, I realised it wasn't. You can tell the sort of thickness of it. It feels different to this one. And for whatever reason, it sort of made it a little bit looser. It is a double knit, but this is just perfect example of double knit and double knit where you buy them. Look, you can actually see there is a difference. Yet they are both the same grade, supposedly, of yarn. So you do have to be careful with your yarns. So if you are finding something sort of coming out a little bit bigger, perhaps you might need to decrease just a stitch or so on a round. That's all you really need. Or you may find it comes out longer. I mean, it has come out okay, but I do think it's a little bit looser than what I normally work on. And the pattern's roughly the sort of same. I have altered it a little bit at the top. If anything, the thing I've done at the top should make it tighter, but for some reason not. But it would still fit. Obviously that's slightly thicker double knit and it still works, and this is a thinner one and it still works, so you don't need to worry too much. Obviously we have these little sort of, I don't know really what they're called. Anybody there who knows about axolotls, let me know. What are these little parts called? They're really pretty on it, but obviously you can get different colours as well. This is just the sort of, I think, the bog standard one that everybody seems to go for the pink. You can do yours obviously whatever colour. I'm only going to make one of these for you to do because you don't need to see me do 6. I will talk about the sewing them on and things like that though as well. A little bit of felt for the eyes, and again this is just a little bit of this pink yarn. So we've only got 2 colours. We have our needle, our hook, a 3.5mm hook, and remember I'm on UK terms as well. I've also got a little stitch marker because when we get to this bit here, if I'm talking, I'm not really counting. If you get a chance to count, it's better, but it's a slight distraction. I'm going to pop the stitch marker on. This is one of my daughters that she designed. This is the little deer one. I think they're really cute. She did 3 of these. In fact, I'm just trying to think whether I've actually put them on my website yet. The aim is I was going to, but these are little sort of, I don't know whether she's popped, I think she might have popped them on her Etsy. I will have a check and I'll pop a link if not, because there is 3 of these. In fact, let me have a look in my tin and I can show you. I think I have probably shown you the others before. Look at that. I have a tin full of stitch markers. Just look at this. stitch markers. They're not just stitch markers. I've got a little tiny turtle in there as well that I crocheted. I bet I'll not be able to find it now because it's so mixed up in here. Oh, here, there's one more. It's a little bunny girl sort of thing. And there is another one, and she's here, and we have a little fox as well. They are so cute. But yeah, I will pop a link on for her Etsy. I'm pretty sure she has got them on there, but I will check where they are, and then I'll put the link on for them if anybody is interested in getting these little stitch markers, which are lovely. In fact, which one shall we use? I think actually I won't use the pink one because it's not going to show up. We will use the little bunny, the green one. So let's get on with this crochet then. So we're going to start with this pink. And as I say, I did think it was a Stylecraft, but as soon as I started working with it, when you get used to working with certain yarns, you know it's not right. And I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. But it's definitely a double knit. So we need to start with our slip knot, as always. It isn't an amigurumi style, even though I do use half trebles. It's still working on the same system. We are going to start with double crochets though. So I'm going to move the yarn over a little bit, take a little bit of that yarn out, and we're going to go 2 chain to begin with. And then, as you know, you can guess this next bit, we're going to do 6 double crochets into this first chain. If you don't like this method, you can do the magic loop method. It's just that I don't find it is as tight or as neat, especially when you're using tiny weeny things. It's not so bad at this scale, but when I go smaller, it just doesn't work for me. So this is why I've always done this method. So here we go, 6 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, seeing whether recording had stopped then because there's a call coming through. 3, 4, 5 and 6. I hope it hasn't stopped, otherwise I'll be doing that again. I don't think it has though. Right, we're now going to, can you see it's fluffier as well than that one? I say that's a much nicer yarn. I love the Stylecraft yarns. We're now going to do 2 double crochets into each of those 6. And I say because it's fluffier, it's harder to find. Here we go. We've done it though. So that's our first one with 2 in. Our second one, bit of a fight there, with 2 in. Our third one with 2 in. Number 4 with 2. Number 5. And number 6. There we go. So we now have 12 stitches round. You can see we're growing a little bit. I'm going to do that again. I'm still going to stay with double crochets, and we're going to do 2 in each of those 12. So we'll have 24 stitches. Off we go. Yeah, it definitely catches. It's not a nice yarn. Don't know where it's even from. So that's 1. That's 2 in 2. 2 in 3. In 4. In 5. In 6. So it's 2 in each. That's why I'm just counting the number though. In 7, because we know it's 2 in each. In 8. 9. 10. 11, and our last one, 2 in that last one, 12. So that gives us our 24 stitches. Just tighten up that middle bit. We need to make sure this bit here is nice and tight. And we are going to be moving on to half trebles. I'm just double checking what my work was. I did 6, 12, 18. I didn't. I did one more round of double crochet, you see. Always check. I write the patterns out and I still can't read my own patterns. This is terrible. We are still going to be using double crochets, but we need one more increase round to get us to 36 stitches. And that is going to be 2 in the first one, 1 in the second one, 2, 1, 2, 1, all the way around. So you have 12 sets because we've got 24 stitches. So off we go. So 2 in this first one and 1 in the second one. That's set 1. A 2. And a 1, set 2, a 2, and a 1, set 3,
2 and a 1. That's set 4 completed. A2 and E1, set 5 finished. 2 and 1, that's set 6. 2 and a 1, set 7, nearly there. A 2 and a 1, set 8. Don't worry if it's starting to crinkle, that will settle out after a while. That was set 8, wasn't it? Set 9 this is. That's set 9 completed. This is set 10. We've got 2 more sets to do. Set 11. And our last one, set 12. So it's doing that first one, 1 in that second one. Now we should have 36 stitches. Now I'm just going to pinch our orange a bit. Now basically when you usually, if I've turned it over, it gives you a guide, you know, because we've got this circle. It needs to be approximately the size of that, and you can see it's a little bit bigger. I think that is purely because of the thickness of this yarn, which I say is very irritating. And I'm really confused because I know I have this colour in Stylecraft and I have no idea where the ball is at the moment. I've probably been using it for something else and it's ended up in a bag. I've got lots of bags of things that I'm doing. Right, so we know that's approximately right. It's just before it starts to curve around the orange before we start doing straight rounds. Now we're going to be moving to our half trebles, and we are doing just round after round after round, and we have 9 of them. Or when you get to about here, double check, because again, if your sort of crochet is a little bit looser, you might find you're already at the bottom. If your crochet is a bit tighter, you might end up needing another round. That is where you're going to have to sort of work it out. Unfortunately, everybody's tension's different, so I'll leave it that way. Oh no, I'll turn it that way over. And we're going to move straight on to half trebles. We're going to pop our stitch marker in so we know where we are starting and where we're finishing. So I'm going to just clip it in there. See, it shows up better, doesn't it, the little green one? And it's just 1 half treble. I'm not going to stop start, I'm just going to go straight into half trebles, and it's 1 half treble in every single stitch. So yarn round into the stitch, pull it through. We have 3 on the hook, pull it through all 3. That is my half treble. Remember, UK half treble. Yarn round, in, pull it through. We have 3 on the hook, pull it through all 3. And we're going to continue that round. I'm not going to count how many stitches now, because I'm just going to rely on that stitch marker. But remember to move your stitch marker, what, maybe every 3 rounds? That should be about it. You can move it more often if you want, or if you're confident where you're starting, you don't have to move it at all. But you will find its position doesn't move, but because we're working in a spiral system, it appears your start position moves. So it's already starting to curl round, which is good. That's what we want. Off we go. Keep going. It's a very pretty colour, this yarn. I just, like I say, it just feels a little bit thick when you're working on it. And I know it's not an Aran or anything like that, because they're not really yarns I have. If I need something like that, I have to buy it in special. But it's very rare I work above a double knit yarn. I know obviously people ask me about a worsted weight, which is a sort of predominantly used in America. Now that is thicker. I don't know whether perhaps I see it as sports weight. If any of you out there know, let me know the nearest to a double knit. I think it might be. I think there's a sports weight. I mean, we basically sort of, we work, well, we can go right down to 1 ply, but if I say 4 ply, double knit, Aran, chunky, that's how we sort of work. Right, so that's round 1 done. I need a pen because I haven't got one ready, but I do have a pot of pens. I've got paperwork everywhere at the moment. It's a little bit chaotic in the house, so I'm going to try and reach without knocking the camera. It's not going to happen, is it? I've knocked it already. Hey, no, not me. I don't want to knock that over. Ta-da! I've got a pen. I want to mark it down because I'm chattering. I need to know. So that was round 1 of the 9 that I did. But obviously yours might need adjusting a little bit from that. No, but I was saying it's absolute chaos in here at the moment. I keep saying I'm going to do a room tour. When I tidy my room, I'll do a room tour. But it is in such a mess at the minute because we've got cosplay coming up. I've got a costume for my granddaughter's dance show. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. Right, keep going. Round we go. Oh, did I slip into doing some double crochets? I did then, didn't I? Let's take it back. We're supposed to be doing half trebles. Half trebles. There we go. Keep going then. So this is our second round of our half trebles. It is a relatively quick make, this one. Make sure you do pick up both pieces there. I think the worst bit is having to do 6 of the, should we call them fins for now? I don't know whether that's right. I'm probably wrong. But for argument's sake, we'll call them fins for now. I'll have to find out, because if I am writing the pattern up, obviously when you list things you need to, so I'm going to have to get up the anatomy of an axolotl and find out what they're actually called. They might be fins, I don't know. I don't think so. They feel a little bit more sort of ornate than fins. Now, let me know. Please let me know in the comments below. Right, where were we? Keep going, keep going. So as I say, we're on round 2 now. And just back to the stitch marker. Oh, we're not. I thought I was nearer the stitch marker. I'm not. I'm way away, aren't I? We're not that far away now. There we go. So I can mark that down now. So that's our round 2 of our 9. So I'm just going to push that out a bit. Now that's not where I've missed a stitch. I noticed there was a bit of fluff on the yarn. Can you see? Now if you get that, if you're very careful, you can trim it off, but be careful you don't catch the main part of your yarn. In fact, I can pull it off. Sometimes you do get little bits of fluff. Let's have a look how we're going here. Yep, that's fitting okay. I think it's going to turn out like the other one for this particular yarn, that it makes it slightly looser, but it still fits, which is quite nice. Take a bit more yarn out there. Another round. In fact, can you see my stitch marker does need moving up, so I'm going to move her up. It's hard to do a stitch marker and hold a hook at the same time. I don't know why I don't just put it down. It's making my own life difficult. There you go. So round 3, half trebles, before I slip back into doing those double crochets. It's because I've been doing a lot of doll items at the moment as well, because I've got to get ready for DollyCon for July, because I have a stall there, and it's tiny. Some of the stuff I've been doing is pippa size, so it's been quite small, but it's all in double crochet, so I keep wanting to revert back to doing double crochets, and they're not. The half trebles. Behave. You know, I don't think I actually finished my sentence, did I, about saying it was quick? It is quite quick to do. Move that off there. It's just sewing on the little sort of fin things that are the hardest bit, 'cause you've got 6 of them to make. They're really easy to make. It's just that there's 6 of them. It's like sometimes I wonder why I chose Octopudding as my logo, because it has 8 legs. So if I have to make Octopudding or octopuses or anything like that, there's always 8 legs. So everything sort of takes twice as long, just purely because of that. Yeah, it does keep sticking. It's sort of like slightly fluffier, this yarn. It's got more sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, there's definitely a fluff to it. And I mean, you probably can't, but I can hear it catching on the hook. Every time I take it through, there's some tiny fibres that are catching. Oh, nearly did a double crochet. One more and we're round again. So that is our round 3. We're getting there, and you can definitely see that it's curling up now. So let's push it back out this way. Now, if you want to try it on your orange now, In fact, I don't actually think this, I wonder if perhaps, I don't know why, did I add an extra stitch in there somewhere? Because this doesn't feel as if it is going to be as loose. But as I mentioned before, if it is, at this point, if you think it's going to be a bit loose, you can have two options. You can either double crochet two together here, or miss a stitch. I've noticed in a lot of the American patterns they miss a stitch rather than two together, which is what we do. So I'm going to do that now just to show people. You might not need to do that. If you've got a decent double knit, you might not need to decrease now. I'm just showing you this in case your work happens to be a little bit tight. So if I was going to miss one, I literally miss one and I jump into the next stitch, which is okay, but can you see sometimes if you're not careful you can get a little gap. So this time I'm going to do two half trebles together. So yarn round, in, pull it through, okay, yarn round, in, pull it through. I've got an awful lot on the hook there and I'm going to pull it all the way through. Okay, so that has decreased me by one stitch. I will carry on now just with half trebles, but you might not need to do that. That was just in case you think your work is a little bit loose. So off we go with our half trebles now. So this is round 4. There are different ways of doing 2 stitches together. So if you've got a method that works for you, you don't have to do what I've done. It was just to sort of say that maybe you need to reduce by 1 stitch or something like that, maybe 2. I can't see you needing to reduce by any more than that unless your tension is very, very loose. But I suspect by this point, if you've done a few of my oranges, your tension will be similar to mine anyway, or you've already worked out how to reduce it. So round we go. As I say, what we're on, round 4. So yeah, we're just approximately halfway, aren't we? I know some of you will have sort of just rocketed forward now. If you've done your 9 rows, you'll sort of fast forward me until you get to the next section. If you are staying with me, thank you for staying with me and listening to me chatter away here. If you are a beginner and you need to slow it down, don't forget you can slow it in the settings as well. I do find the start system best. And I do recommend, if you're doing these, the 2 main stitches you need to learn from most of my chocolate oranges are double crochet and half treble. If you're happy with them, I'm nearly split. If you're happy with those 2 stitches, you should be fine making them. I will throw a treble in occasionally, but that's usually for sort of the decoration of an orange. Oh, I'm just looking, the sun's coming out. Yay, I've just put some washing in and I really need the sun to come out because it's uniforms. Right, so that was round 4. And off we go again for round number 5. I think I've sort of got to a stitch over. There you go, missus. She's got a very smiley face, hasn't she? So did I say 5? Yes, I did. It's good job I write it down into. I've got it on the piece of paper next to me, so I keep glancing across to make sure I know where I am. I'm so easily distracted. It is unbelievable. Oh, it keeps coming up with a thing. I know it's my mum trying to call. I'll call her back as soon as we've done this. It's not going to take long. But it comes up, I think it's saying, because I can't see it properly because the way my stand fits around my phone. I think it says if you answer the call, the recording will stop. I think that's what it's just said. So I don't do it at the moment. I know it won't be anything. I know she's trying to ring me to arrange meeting up tomorrow. And I know if she can't get hold of me, she'll ring my daughter anyway. She'll presume what I'm doing. Because she knows what I like to sort of get the recordings done in the morning. It's the only problem using your phone though for filming if things come through. One day, I keep saying one day I will save for a camera, you know, like a real camera. I don't even know how to use one properly. But yeah, in a perfect world for filming. I mean, this is great. I mean, this little phone has been so good. Right, we're going to start round 6 now. Has been so good for filming, and I think it's relatively clear as well. I'm quite pleased with it. But it would be nice to have my phone separate to my actual filming, but I have not got the faintest idea what to do with or even what to buy as far as the camera for filming is concerned, as in a, you know, normal camera. I can't think of what it's called because I don't know what it's called. A camera, that's all I'm going to say. One day. Right, we're doing well here, like I said, round 6, which means there's only 3 more rounds after this. And you can tell it's getting longer because the stitch marker is hitting the table, which is very irritating. I'll try it on the orange actually after this one, because I did decrease that 1 stitch. I know it won't make any difference. The other beauty of yarn is, especially if you're using a half treble rather than a double crochet, it does have a little bit of stretch. But we will try it on just to double check, because at this point you do need to be checking it on the orange or whatever other object it is that you're going to be working on, just to make sure you're going to get a decent fit. Right, that's round 6, so let's have a look. Yeah, actually that's quite a nice fit now. I'm glad I did reduce the stitch for mine as well, because I think it's giving it a better fit. I mean, the other one's not far off, but I do think it feels a little loose, just a tiny weeny bit loose. But just doing that ink decrease, you can't tell, so don't worry if you ever have to do that on any crochet, or, well, I don't know about knitting. I don't think it works quite as easy with knitting. We can get away with murder where crochet is concerned. You can get away with murder with crochet. So if you did need decrease or increase occasionally, you can do it. Right, we're on round 7, aren't we? Round 7, round and round we go. We have 35 stitches on mine now, because I've reduced by 1, haven't I? But you've got 36 stitches on here. If you want to count them, you can do. In fact, I really need, thinking about that, I need to be moving my stitch marker up, don't I? Because it's been quite a while since I've moved it. So when we get round on this one, I think when you've been doing it a while, you will not move your stitch marker as often. But I do recommend it, because you can get a little bit sort of complacent. And if you had to do a lot of rounds, for example, it would make a difference. I keep saying I ought to do that. You know, sort of make something, leave the stitch marker in and count and count and count, and then just show the difference that it does actually make. In fact, that might be something worth thinking about doing. Sun's decided to go in now. I've still got to put the washing out, whether the wind goes in, wind goes in, what am I on about? Whether the sun goes in or not. There's a breeze out there, so it should get everything nicely dry. Oh, nearly lost it. So this is round 7, and then we're going to move our stitch marker, and then we've only got 2 more rounds anyway. So if you think that's only 35 stitches times 2, it's not that painful. Right, let's get this shifted up to about there. That will do me. So mark it down before I forget. So 2 more rounds. So round 8, here we go. I would recommend you do invest in decent yarn. It's like I'm still moaning about this wool, aren't I? When you are doing projects, I mean, the Stylecraft, I think it's only like 179, 180 something per ball for that particular one. And it is really great quality. And then, you know, you do have to be careful. Don't fall into the trap of going, oh, that's cheap wool, it's only like 80 pence a ball or something like that. It might be okay to do the odd little bits and bobs, but I do feel there is a difference. When I first started, I used to buy all the really cheapest yarns because I couldn't really afford anything different. And then I treated myself to the odd sort of more expensive yarn, and then I realised it makes a difference. It really does. I think it depends what you're making, obviously. You know, if you're making a pet toy or something like that, you're certainly not going to be spending a lot of money on the yarn, are you? But if it is something special, or it's a gift, or you're wanting a lot of consistency with your work, keep to the same yarns. Find one that's nice. I mean, I use lots of different brands. You know, like I said, that is Stylecraft. I use King Cole. I like some I can't even pronounce, some of the 4-ply ones. There's loads of different yarns out there, but there is the odd one that I do have a tendency to use more often. Right, so we're on our final round. Should we have a quick check though, in case I don't need any more for the length? No, I need one more row, definitely. I said row again, didn't I? Round, 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 round we're going. Last round for me. But again, check on your orange. You may need that one less if you're a little bit looser, or you may need that one more if your work is a little bit tighter. In fact, you might only need a little bit. You might only want a double crochet round to give you that slightest bit extra there. If your work is a little bit loose as well at this point at the bottom, sometimes a double crochet round's a good idea, you know, just to finish the work off. It pulls it in a little bit tighter. It's not really necessary, but if you felt yours was a little loose, sometimes a double crochet round can pull it in. Annoying clicking sound, it's hitting the table again. I'll know when I get at least halfway around, because then it'll stop doing it like that. So this is our last stage for the actual head. Oh, got my wool stuck. Go over there, wool. Maybe another 4 stitches. I think that's about it. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then I'm going to finish with a slip stitch, because I don't like this step it creates if you don't. So it just flattens it off if you do the slip stitch. Now scissors, oh, I'm doing it again. It's because all my stuff's across here and I'm trying not to reach across. I'm gonna have to use my big scissors again. I've been taking bags downstairs because I've been doing all this Dollycon stuff, so I've got little bags of various doll. I'm determined to make you dizzy as well, aren't I? Stop still, camera. There we go. So pull that through. Take your little stitch marker out, because you don't need that in now. I will if I can hold it. There we go. Now, obviously, you need to sew your ends in. I'm going to be lazy for demonstration purposes, and I'm just going to push them inside and then pop it over my orange. So you can see we've got our little cover, which fits quite nicely. Actually, it definitely fits better than the other one. So I don't know what I did there. I don't know whether you find it yourself. You can make one thing and it feels loose, and then you make another thing, it feels tighter. Who knew? Perhaps it depends what mood you're in. Right, now this is the Stylecraft yarn. So this is slightly sort of, this looks thinner, but it is still double knit. Now you will need 6 of these. We're just going to do one. Don't worry, you don't have to watch me do all 6. So as usual, slip knot on the hook, and again 2 chain. And into this very first chain, we're going to do our 6 double crochets, just exactly like the top of there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and and 6. Now there's only one increase on this, which is going to be our next round, and it's going to be 2 in the first one, 1 in the second one. Now there's only 6 stitches, so you can only do that 3 times, and it will give us 9 stitches in total. So we do 2 in the first one, 1 in the second one. Okay, that's our first set. And get a bit more of this wool out. We do 2 in the next one, 1 in the next one. That's our second set, and our last set is 2 in this one and 1 in the next one. So we now have 9 stitches. I'm just tightening up where my slip knot is now, so you got it nice there. And then we're going to do just 4 double crochet rounds. So we don't need a stitch marker for something this size because we've only got 9 stitches there, so we'll just have to count. So here we go. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that's our round number 1. We will mark them off. I mean, you could make them slightly longer if you want. I think I've got approximately the length right. I know I've seen lots of different versions of it, but this is the one that I decided to go with. So you can see it's curling that way. We don't want it to curl that way, do we? We need it to curl that way. So that was round 1 with our 9. So again, we're just going to count 9 stitches. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that's our second one. So we're halfway already for that bit. So another 9 we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that's our third round of the 9. This wool's determined to jump about because I'd have to re-roll it up. Right, last round of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Right, so that is as much as we're going to do for rounds. We're now going to do a decrease round. That doesn't make sense, does it, what I've just said? Right, but what I'm going to do first is, this is really bugging me. Can you see this bit here? This is obviously the bit where we started. Now, if you're worried about this coming undone, you do need to sort of turn this inside out and tie this off. I generally don't have an issue with that, so I'm just going to snip it because it's in my way. Okay, and I'll just tuck it in. Not cut it too short, I've just pushed it in that's left. So we're going to do a decrease round to bring it back down to 6, which is 2 together, 1. Okay, and then 2 together, 1, and then 2 together, 1. So you do it 3 times. So here we go. So in, pull it out, in, pull it out, 3 on the hook, pull it together. That's 1 decrease. The next one is just a double crochet. Then we're going to do the decrease again. So in, 3 on the hook, pull it through, 1 double crochet. That's our second set. In we go again, the last one, 2 together and 1. Okay, then I'm just going to do 1 round of double crochet, just 1 double crochet in each of those 6. So we need 6 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, a little bit fiddlier to hold now, 3, 4, 5, last one, and 6. And as you know, I like to do a slip stitch to finish, and da-da, there we go. Make sure before you cut this, there's enough there to sew onto the bottom, well, the head of our axolotl there. So we're going to pull the hook through and fasten off. Ta-da! So I have my little axolotl, whatever we're going to call them. There you go. So for actually sewing onto the head, I will show you for this one. I will when I find my needle. That one will do. A little bit blunter than I like, but it is still quite small. So I'm going to pop it onto my needle first. move that out of the way, it's distracting. And I know I've mentioned before, but when I do sew things on, I like to make sure the knot is on the edge here. So then I start at that side. Now you want to think about your positioning. When you've done them all, you can sort of go, yeah, that'll be about right. So I'm sort of guessing here. So I'm going to go, now if I look on this one, in fact, can you see I went after the second lot of half trebles? So I started here. You can sort of see approximately. So I counted down and did it on the same on the other side. But for now, let's just position roughly. So I think it's there. Now I am holding it with my thumb, and you can see obviously there's two sides here. So I'm just picking up along this side, and there's only 3 stitches there. So I'm just going to pick it up. And I'm keeping it flat. Just picking up those stitches. But because I've only picked up the one side, when I flip it over, you can see it's loose. That's okay. I want that. So then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to turn it. And then I'm going to sew it again. I mean, you'll all have different ways of sewing. You don't have to do the way I do it. I'm just showing because there will be people out there that either don't like sewing up or are not that, you know. Let me move it over there. I'm doing it again, aren't I? It's when I sew, I have a tendency to bring my work towards my body. And it's a bit sort of hard to sew arms out. So we're just obviously just sewing down that other side. And the last bit I'm going to do is just going to be to knot it. Yep. And then I'm going to thread the yarn through. Keep wanting to call it an ear because it sort of feels like it's an ear. I know it's not. And then we can trim it off. From there. Now obviously it looks a little bit weird at the moment. He needs 3 each side, but all you need to do is another 5 of those exactly the same and stitch them on. I stitched them on really close, and I actually, you can see with this one, I sort of semi-joined them. So when I did that last stitch, I sort of stitched across, but again, you'll find your own way of doing that. The other thing to finish off is I cut 2 little round circles. Now these circles can be whatever size you want. You could use buttons, you don't have to use felt, but you can see roughly what size mine were there if anybody was wondering. So they have been stitched on. So I've used a little bit of black cotton to sew those on, but you can glue them on if you're really not fond of sewing. But also please remember who the recipient of the gift is going to be, and make sure, obviously if they're younger, you need to make sure it's secure and things like that. As far as the mouth is concerned, I basically just use this and sewed across twice. I do think perhaps his mouth should have been wider. Do you think his mouth would look cuter wider? I think perhaps maybe I should have done the mouth a little bit sort of wider, or maybe a little bit higher. I'm not quite sure. I was looking at lots of pictures of real axolotls as well, and sometimes they got these tiny weeny mouths, and sometimes they weren't. So I was a little confused on that. So you may want to alter your features on there, of course, but that's what personalizes your work, how you actually do it. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, how quick and simple is that? As I said, the only thing that takes the time is having to do 6 of those. But apart from that, I think it's a nice, quick and simple little gift cover to do, and I think it's quite cute, and I know you could do it in lots of different colors, which would be nice as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you do enjoy my videos, please make sure you do like, subscribe and share, of course, and I hope to see you all very soon with a little bit more crochet or whatever I'm up to at that particular point. So thank you once again, and bye bye for now.